If you are a young man and you clicked on this video, this is the most important video that you have ever clicked on. And I know it's cliche to say, I know everybody says that just to hook you in, but I am so serious. This is the most important video that I have posted out of the hundreds of pieces of content that I have put out. And why should you listen to me? Why should you listen to this random guy on the internet that you just so happen to stumble upon today? Well, today we're going to be talking about the difference between a nice guy and a good man. And I have been both of these things. I used to be this, and I'm going to tell you exactly how to become this. But before I get into the details, I am going to put out a disclaimer. If you are somebody that cannot take true criticism and you want to keep living a lie and you refuse to hear the truth, then just go ahead and leave this video right now. This video is only for people that truly want to grow, that truly want to look in the mirror for the first time and see themselves for who they are, not who they think they are. This difference right here will determine the type of man that you become in your life. And I need you to understand that it's not just about you. This isn't to help you. It's to help every single person that you come into contact with. So for the select few people that actually want to grow, that are willing to sacrifice their ego in order to become a truly, genuinely good man, this video will shift your entire life, and that's a promise. So let's get right into it, all right? So we're going to bounce back and forth between these two sides and the differences and how they are carried out through identity, through behavior, and through mindset. Right off the bat, a nice guy is avoidant of their emotions. Oh, Ryan, but the people on the internet, the guys on the internet tell me that if I show my emotions, if I face my emotions, then I'm weak, then I'm being too vulnerable. Well, I'll tell you this. To not face your true emotions, to not face the unhealed parts of yourself is the weakest thing you can do as a man. And you might be getting by, you might be able to outrun it, but it's always going to catch up to you. And when it does, it's going to be worse every single time. And every time that it circles back, it is not only going to affect you, it is going to affect your friends, your family, and your romantic relationships. If you are somebody that thinks being a real man is running away from your problems, not healing yourself, not facing the music, then I will tell you right now that you are completely lost. And I say that out of love. I say that because I really want to help you. And I say that because that's what I used to do. I used to watch these gurus on the internet when I was trying to rebuild my life. And they were telling me, be stoic, never show emotion, never get in tune with your emotions. They're just distractions. They're just gonna throw you off course. Well, let me tell you this. When a man tells you that, that is a direct message to you that that man is trying to cover up his weakness with this bold and masculine and super prominent character that they have created. It's not who they truly are, and they are deceiving you. When you are in a tough spot, like a lot of you are right now, you need to understand how easily you can be influenced. You are in a vulnerable position. You need to understand that your emotions and your mind is very volatile right now. So you need to know the difference between real and fake. And when you don't check that, anybody that is able to speak with conviction and communicate well will influence you without you even knowing it. I'm going to give a direct example. A lot of you watch way too much Andrew Tate. And do I think that Andrew Tate has some great points? I really do. When he's being serious, he has given some really good advice on how to be a good man, how to provide for others, and how to be spiritually sound within yourself. But there is an edge to that is very dangerous. A lot of the things that he teaches are seated in hate. They are seated in hating women because you haven't succeeded with them. And this is where you go wrong every single time. You think that, oh, through this boldness, through speaking with conviction, through operating with hatred, I am taking my power back. I am becoming a strong man. But really, you're just hurt. You're just hurt. You're mad about what she did to you. You're mad that it didn't work out. You're mad that women don't respect you. And then you put on this cloak of this super masculine, powerful man, but truly, you're just a little boy, all right? And I'm just gonna tell you the truth. You are a little boy, and you need to get over that. So how do you eliminate this mentality? You switch from being avoidant to being emotionally aware. A good man has that soft side, has that contextual, soft, vulnerable side when necessary. Keywords, when necessary. I'm not telling you to be overly emotional because I truly don't believe that any man should. But there is a happy medium that you must find, or else you are going to make a fool of yourself. So what does it mean to be emotionally aware? It means that you are able to acknowledge your emotions, you are able to face your emotions, but your emotions do not control you. In these unhealed parts of yourself, in these deeper emotions, in those feelings that you feel when nobody is around, is the answer that will push you towards your purpose, that will push you towards becoming who God intended you to be. So you must be able to acknowledge your emotions without them overriding your actions. So what do I mean by this? To be emotionally aware is to say, I am sad right now. I am angry right now, but I'm not going to let it get the best of me. It's having a long-term mindset over a short-term mindset. See, the boy is going to see his emotions, let it consume him, and then allow that to drive and operate everything that he does from that point forward. But the good man will acknowledge his emotions, separate it from his identity, and be able to find a solution and not cause more problems. So how could you do this? First of all, you need to put your ego down and acknowledge that I'm depressed right now, I'm angry right now, I'm sad right now, but I don't have to be sad forever. Especially with something like anger. One of the best questions you can ask yourself when you become angry is, am I going to be angry about this in a week? Am I going to be angry about this in a day? With that simple mindset shift, you will allow yourself to get over things way quicker. And what makes people successful? What allows people to constantly grow? The ability to not live in the past, not harp on the past, and not become what hurt them. I want you to hear me on that. A lot of you, you'll get hurt by a woman. She'll break up with you. She'll break your heart. And then you'll start acting the way that she treated you. You become exactly who you were hurt by. Is that not the weakest way you can go about it? Next point, nice guys are completely self-servant. So what do I mean by this? Nice guys take generous actions. They always are putting people before themselves. But it's not about what they're doing, it's about why they're doing it. See, a nice guy will do nice things in order to be seen as a good guy, in order to be perceived as this noble, generous, amazing person, only for their own self-validation. But a good man is genuinely compassionate. And how do you root yourself to be genuinely compassionate and do the things for the right reasons? Well, you root your compassion in your purpose. Your purpose should not be something that you think of and you're only thinking of, how does this serve me? How does this make my life better? It should be for others. It should be servant, like God teaches us, like the Bible teaches us. Our purpose should be bigger than us. And you will find in those times when you are not motivated, when it's the last thing that you want to do is show up for yourself, that you will continuously show up for yourself anyways. Because instead of going into your mind and saying, what do I feel like doing? What can I do for myself? You will start thinking that this is bigger than me. And if I don't show up, I don't make that piece of content, I don't make that song, I don't write that book, then I am robbing others of an opportunity to grow. One of the best quotes I have ever heard in my life is that every time you don't show up for yourself, it is a disservice to anybody that could have been helped by what you're producing. It is bigger than you. You need to put your selfishness aside. You need to not root your purpose in what you can gain, monetary, superficial things. It has to be rooted in truly wanting to make an impact on other people's lives. And you will find that you will stop quitting everything you do. You will stop bouncing from one thing to another, and you will finally actually stick to something for once. Now we're going to get into a pillar of this entire conversation: confidence. So a nice guy's confidence is loud. It's self-proclaimed. It's, oh, I'm a good guy. I'm not like the other guys. You know, you never met a guy like me. But if you are truly that, then why do you have to keep telling people? Wouldn't they be able to feel that energy coming from you? Wouldn't they be able to see that in the way that you live your daily life, in the behaviors that you have, in the way that you treat people? See, true confidence doesn't need to be said out loud. It doesn't require you to be constantly telling people who you are. Because if you truly loved who you are, you wouldn't care if you were not perceived the correct way. You wouldn't care if people misunderstood you. If they see who you truly are and who you were made to be, so be it. And if they don't, and they think you're an asshole, and they think you're this and you're that, then you will have no problem with that. But if you're insecure and you're a nice guy, then you have a fragile confidence. You have a fragile masculinity. So you are going to be defensive. Every time somebody tries to be honest with you, you're just going to cuss them out. You're going to get angry and you're going to say, that person is wrong. That person is just hating on me. Well, a lot of times they're telling you the truth about yourself. And again, you're being avoidant and you just don't want to face it. Simple as that. A good man doesn't have to explain who he is. You know who he is. Even when he is not talking, you feel this energy coming off of him to where you want to follow him, to where you admire him, to where you say, that's the type of man I would like to become in my own life. And again, that requires you putting your ego aside, not seeing every conversation as a competition, and truly admitting that, yeah, this guy's in a better spot than me, and if I could build a good relationship with him, then I can learn an infinite amount about how to become better in my own life. And it's not using people, it's just simply acknowledging that you might not be where you want to be right now, and there is people that are there. So you could either be an egotistical maniac and say, oh, I'm a lone wolf, I could do this all by myself, and it's going to take you 10 times longer to do that. I am somebody that has paid over $12,000 to coaches, to mentors, just to become a better man, just to chase my purpose, and just to further understand who I am to the core and who God intended me to be. If you're not willing to just shut up and listen for once, then you will never grow the way that you want to. And you might think that you're being a tough guy and, oh, I could do this all by myself. Nobody understands me. But truthfully, you're just robbing yourself of the exact information that is going to take you from this level to this level. And it's as simple as that. My next point I mentioned before when talking about confidence and talking about who you are as a man. A nice guy is a self-proclaimed nice guy. They continuously are telling people, chasing that approval. They only say it out loud for the validation from the other person so they can believe it too. See, they don't truly believe that they're a good guy. They don't truly believe that they're a strong man. So they say it out loud to others and wait for that person to say, you know what, you are a good guy. You know what, you are a strong guy. Because that validation is the only thing that makes them feel good about themselves. On the flip side, a good man doesn't need that validation. A good man has done what's necessary to truly know who he is to the core of his identity, so much so that his confidence, the way that he acts, the way that he carries himself is entirely not dependent on the validation of others. It doesn't need to be accepted. It doesn't need to be celebrated. A good man has no problem going against the grain. Let's go off course for just a second. The reason you're even watching this video is because you want to accomplish things that most people will never accomplish in their entire lives. You want to accomplish things that put you in that elite class of life that most people will never even get a taste of. So, what does that require? That requires you to take sacrifices that other men aren't willing to do. It requires you to, when everybody is telling you that what your idea is the wrong thing to do, it's unrealistic, oh, you should go a more secure route, you are so solid within yourself and you have such a sense of self-love that you can ignore the noise and trust what God is pushing you to do. A good man succeeds because he doesn't need people to root for him. And I'll tell you right now, until you're successful, until you're doing good things that everybody can see, they're not going to root for you. You're going to catch a lot more negativity from people than you are going to catch encouragement from people. They are going to project their insecurity onto you. They are going to project the fact that they would never have the balls to do what you're doing onto you every single day. But what are they trying to do? They're trying to keep you on their level. They're trying to stop you from excelling, because the second that you start rising above the people around you, it makes them realize how little they're doing in their own life. And if you have friends like that and they're hating on what you're doing, they're hating on your videos, they're hating on your music, they're talking about you behind your back, you need to get away from them as soon as possible, because they don't want you to do good. They might want you to do good, but they don't want you doing better than them. And that is a very dangerous person to be around, because what is that ultimately rooted in? Yes, jealousy, but what is the root of jealousy? Envy. Envy is the root of jealousy. And you know what envy is? The killer of men. Envy says, that person's more talented than me. That person's smarter than me. That person scammed people to get there. That person just got lucky. But all you're doing is just projecting the fact that you won't take a chance on yourself, and that person is doing what you truly want to do. This next point might be the most important point of this entire video. It is the pillar of emotion. It is the pillar of how you carry out your entire life. And that is the lack of control versus true inner peace. So a nice guy has a lack of control, heavily on the emotions. I personally lost my father when I was 14 years old. I didn't have a masculine figure there to teach me how to be a real, genuinely good man. And so when I was getting into relationships, when I was dealing with my friendships, when I was dealing with anything that required intense emotion, I was completely run by my emotion. I have hurt more people in my life than I can even name. I have taken the cowardly route and projected my own pain onto other people just because of how much pain I was feeling internally. And obviously, this isn't the way to go about it. Some people will say, oh, well, I just lost my cool. I just got angry. I was just angry. It's not a big deal. I'll tell you right now, it is completely unacceptable for you to feel pain and project that onto other people. Because that pain that you feel, you're validated in that, okay? Life can be painful. Life is gonna throw curveballs at every single one of us and cause us true immense pain that we don't always expect. But if you're somebody that turns around and passes on that pain, then you are a little boy, you are insecure, and you are failing in your life. You are completely failing at what you're supposed to do in the objective of a man. When you have a lack of control, you feel like life is happening to you. You feel like, why me? I'm so unlucky. All these bad things happen to me. It doesn't seem to happen to anybody else. And when my father died and nobody could relate to me, I could have took that route. And matter of fact, I did take that route. But that is just being a victim. That is being a victim of your own circumstances. And I sit here today and say that the death of my father is one of the biggest reasons why you are even watching me on this video right now. Why I can even speak about this. Why I can even speak about how I prevailed from being a weak and insecure little boy into being a truly respectable, good man. A nice guy looks at the circumstances in his life and says, this is the reason why I became a monster. This is why I'm in my villain arc. But that was a choice that you made, because every time something happens to you, you have a decision to make. You can either look at it in its face and realize that you have a decision to make, you have control about how you react to that, or you could say, oh, I had no choice. My life was so hard. How can you blame me for becoming this way? And partially you're right. What happened to you wasn't your fault. It wasn't your fault. You couldn't have seen it coming. You couldn't have been prepared for it. But what you did after that happened to you is entirely your fault. And you need to stop blaming things on external factors and saying, oh, I became like this because of my circumstances. I became like this because Stacy cheated on me. You became like that because you made a decision to take the weak route instead of actually healing from what hurt you. And when you face the music, and you see your life from a hyper-realistic lens, and you take ultimate accountability and say, you know what? I am hurting people. You know what? I'm not going about this the right way. That's when you achieve true inner peace. That's when you start to become a whole person. When you partner with God and say, God, I don't know if I have the strength to fight this battle by myself. So I surrender to you, and I know that you are strong enough, and I have enough faith in you to get me through this situation. And every single time, without fail, that you surrender your ego, you surrender your pride, and you truly do what's necessary to feel the pain, internalize the pain, and heal that pain into purpose, you become a better man. The next point is why a lot of you are in the spot that you're in right now. A nice guy gets absolutely no respect from other people. See, a nice guy will be so nice that he will compromise who he is. He will change his values in order to cater to who is in front of him. Because his main objective is to make people like him. His main objective is to be viewed as this amazing, noble character. That's all that matters to them. And they will trample and step on anyone in order to be seen like that. They will lie, they will deceive, they will manipulate, no matter what, as long as everybody thinks they're the friendly, nice guy. But ultimately, when you look behind you, You are leaving a trail of destruction. You are destroying every relationship. You are destroying every friendship, and you are ultimately destroying yourself. You are addicted to self-sabotage. You are addicted to the thrill of people thinking that you are a good person. So your entire identity is dependent on how other people see you. And that is quite literally the most dangerous position that you could ever be in your entire life. A good man is respected and respected as a leader. See, the good man doesn't have to explain to you why you should follow him. He doesn't have to explain to you why you should listen to him, why you should have the same values and live the same way that they do. You see their life, you admire it, you see that it has direct results, and naturally, your soul wants to follow them. See, a lot of this is nonverbal. Think about the most powerful man you can think of. Think of a man that you can admire. Are they always constantly talking about how great they are? Or do they take a humiliative and humble approach? Do they let others recognize who they are? Or do they always have to seek that validation, always say, I'm this, I'm that? The most respectable guy in the room is the quietest man in the room. He is the complete quietest. He doesn't have to do too much. He doesn't have to be the center of attention. And strictly by his energy alone, even when he's not speaking, people will follow him. Simple as that. This next point is entirely predictable based on everything that we've talked about thus far, but a nice guy is insecure. They hate themselves. And at one point in my life, after years of self-sabotage, after years of hurting people that truly wanted to show me genuine love, I had to sit down alone in silence and not distract myself for the first time in my life and realize that I hated who I was. When I looked in the mirror, I didn't like that guy. I didn't like the way I looked. I didn't like the way I lived. I didn't like the way I talked. And so I would just keep lying to people. I would lie to people about the things that I was working on. I would always be telling people, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start a YouTube channel. I'm going to start making videos. I'm going to start making music. And guess what I never did? That. I never did any of those things that I wanted to do because I would get the dopamine hit from just saying it out loud. So again, I had to become quiet. I had to just go, lock myself away for a little bit, sit in that isolation, and learn to love who I was. I need you to realize something, okay? If you're very insecure right now, if you don't like who you are, there is improvements to be made, I'm sure. There is improvements that I am actively working on every single day, knowing that I am a flawed human that will never be perfect. But the way that I achieve true confidence is just realizing that this is me. I look the way I look. My voice sounds the way it sounds. I'm interested in what I'm interested, and not everybody is going to understand that. Not everybody's going to like that. Matter of fact, I am completely okay if people hate me. I'm completely fine if somebody watches this video, goes into the comment section, and picks apart my entire existence. Why? Because that doesn't validate me. That isn't the source of my confidence. The source of my confidence is God's image for me. It is who God made me to be and who I know I am to the core of my soul. Your confidence should be dependent on you. And if you don't have confidence, find confidence in God's image for you. Because God didn't make you to suffer. God didn't make you to fail. God didn't make you to be a useless human that just exists and scrolls all day and jerks it in the corner. God made you to have a purpose big enough, unique enough to impact thousands, millions of people. And I need you to realize that. One of my favorite quotes comes from Kanye West. He says, "People's biggest enemy is their perception of themselves." If you do not develop an innate and powerful, prominent sense of self-belief, almost to the point of delusion, where you know exactly where you're going, exactly the impact that you will have, and exactly how much you will leave behind in your life before you have anything to show for it. You've already lost. If you don't even like yourself, nobody's going to like you. If you don't respect yourself, nobody's going to respect you. That is the basis of this entire conversation. So I want you to establish a very powerful, unshakable, unbreakable self-belief. Think about your strengths. Think about the things that you are naturally good at. Think about the things that people ask you for advice for. And use those strengths to your advantage and refine new skills on the back end to become better and better every single day. When I made this decision in my life and I said, my worth isn't dependent on what people think of me, there has not been a day in my life since that I have not grown. I have grown every single day, year after year. Everything gets better. Everything in my life gets better. My relationships, my friendships, my finances, every single thing improves, and it's never going to stop because I'm always perceiving myself. I'm always taking an introspective approach and realizing that there is always something to refine. There is always something to learn. If you stop learning, you start dying. You're just existing and you're only getting worse. You might think, oh, I'm just maintaining right now. I'm just taking my foot off of the gas. If you're not getting better, you're getting worse, okay? And you need to realize that, and you need to seek to learn, to become more wise, to become more humble, to become a better man. The last and one of the most important points that I'm going to talk to you about, I need you to listen very carefully. And if you made it to this point in the video, let me just tell you, you are already in the 1% because you actually have an attention span. A nice guy is completely dishonest. He will lie to anyone and everyone in order to keep the reputation of who they think they are, not who they are, because at the end of the night, when they lay their head on that pillow, they know that they aren't a good person. They know that they manipulate people. They know that they are willing to do anything to feel that next high, to feel better. They are completely self-serving, they are completely selfish, and they will tell you the most outrageous lies in order to do so. I admit, and to however many people watch this video, I have told some of the most outrageous lies ever. And I need you to realize this. You're not getting away with it. Nobody believes what you're saying. They can see right through your bullshit. It takes an inkling of wisdom to be able to see through somebody that is presenting themselves one way, but is truly an entirely different person. It takes absolutely no self-awareness, no people skills to tell that you are a fraud and you are a liar. I used to tell people lies back to back to back. So much so that I couldn't even remember the first lie that I told, and I would struggle to even keep up with this old bullshit story that I was telling people. And most people, they won't even admit that to you. They won't even admit the fact that they were once a horrible liar. But I'll tell you right now, that was me. I was a complete liar. I lied to all my girlfriends. I lied to all my friends. I lied to my mom. I lied to my dad. I lied to my brothers. Anything to conserve the reputation of who I thought I was. But a good man, on the flip side, is completely genuine, is completely authentic, even if it's a detriment to him. So what I need you to understand is that a good man is willing to admit his shortcomings. He's willing to admit that he's wrong. He's willing to admit that certain opinions that he holds are not healthy and need to change. He is open to other perspectives. He is open to conversation. He is overall open-minded. He knows that I don't know everything. I've had a certain experience, I grew up in a certain environment, and I was conditioned a certain way. Even if I wanted to, there is certain things that I am completely unaware of, and other people can give me that if I just put my ego down and am receptive to it. One of the biggest problems in the younger generation is simply the fact that a lot of you are not coachable. A lot of you aren't willing to face the fact that you might make a mistake, that you might be wrong about some things that you strongly believe in. But the problem with that is because you're attaching these things to your identity. So when somebody challenges your opinion, you think that they're challenging who you are as a person. But that's where you go wrong. These things should be separated from you. It should be separated as a different identity. You have to have the ability to compartmentalize your values, your morals, and your overall opinions from yourself. Because people aren't attacking you. They're challenging your opinion. And when you're open to that and you're receptive to that, you will never stop growing. Some of you in this moment just need to admit the fact that you don't know everything. You don't know everything. There's certain things that you shouldn't open your mouth and talk about because you don't know what you're talking about. You have zero idea. But just to preserve that pride and preserve that ego, you'll go on rambling and yapping about stuff that doesn't even make sense. It doesn't have any basis. It doesn't have any substance. You're just trying to defend yourself. And that ultimately is super weak. It's super weak to do. If you made it to this point in the video, I first of all want to thank you for taking a chance on me and listening to what I had to say and allowing me to share my own life experience of how I shifted from a weak, insecure man to somebody that people can actually respect, somebody that people actually follow, people that seek information from. And when you make this shift, it is the most fulfilling feeling in the world. Not because of what it does for you, but the impact that you're able to have on others. Every opportunity that I get to make a video like this, that I get to speak life into somebody, that I can speak about the mistakes that I've made and all of the pain and all of the trials and tribulations that it took to come out on the other side a better man, it is a complete privilege to me. And I am not this way because of me. I am this way because of God and what He was willing to do in my life when I didn't deserve it. So, if you want to hit the subscribe button and follow somebody that truly cares about you and has a purpose rooted in something way bigger than himself, you are the only reason why I show up here. Because I know there's somebody on the other side of the screen right now that feels how I used to feel, that is scared, that is hiding behind this image. And I don't want you to feel like you have to do that anymore. I don't want you to feel like you have to pretend to be somebody else, because who you are is fearfully and wonderfully made by God. And He has a really amazing plan for you that is going to create an impact that you didn't even know was possible. And if you want to dig into your true identity and truly become who you are made to be, DM me on Instagram at this tag right here, the word win. I'll book a 60-minute call with you where you can talk to me personally. We can go over all the problems that you're facing, all the things that have occurred in your life, all the way through your childhood even, and we will slowly pick apart each and every piece, and I will give you solutions that you can use today in order to truly make a change that lasts, in order to make change that becomes who you are and not just a facade for the short term. So don't waste any more time. You know you're struggling, you know that you need help. Put your ego down, put your pride down, and send me a DM. I can help you.